Grief Talk with Vonne Solis, The Clips.
We all have an energy field. So like you said, some people are not even very aware of it. And it could be part of what you mentioned in the beginning as well. There's, or prior to this, but when we were talking about this discussion, is levels of programming, right? So there's just, and that's where I feel like the phrasing of reclaiming your divinity comes into play, because everyone can hold a sacred space. Everyone's breath is sacred. We all have this gift. And even after somebody works with me for however long that is, even if it's one session or whatever it is, the experience they have, they still walk away and their breath is still sacred.
What's so interesting is I'm a little bit afraid of breath work. I'll tell you why breath work is uncomfortable for me. So for anybody watching, listening to this, you can maybe relate. So I have post-traumatic stress disorder from the suicide of my daughter in July 2005, and it's never gone away. It wasn't diagnosed officially till 2014. So I lived with it for a really long time. And I had a really long time to have the trauma impact me in a whole bunch of different ways. And so breath work is about stillness. The essence of what breath work is for, which is to find that stillness. A lot of people, they go into breath work, and in trauma also. Breath work is very important. So if you find yourself rising in anxiety, which accompanies PTSD, and there's this nervousness, there's this survival mode, this always looking over your shoulder, what's going to happen next, and so on and so forth. The moment you stop to just do breath work and be still and get centered, it almost critically, that's what has to happen to even make a decision to not react in the same survival mode. It can be very hard when you've been traumatized to be still. We don't want our mind still because there's the quietness we're supposed to have, and that place in center, but that can be very scary for people because it can lead to a lot of really, really uncomfortable, if not terrorizing thoughts. So starting with that for the people today thinking about this, and going back to what you just said, you can start a new ripple. You have to be willing to look at where the trauma has stemmed from and heal it to create that new ripple, right?
To bring it back to the work that I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I consider it a sacred space, and it has the capacity to help people feel safe, to feel supported enough and held enough to just be in their body and remember these things. And usually that's kind of one of the things that can happen when you do breath work, is you start to remember things that maybe you filed away a long time ago. And so it can be scary. And I would imagine that's why some people, maybe even like yourself, are a little frightened just thinking about that kind of practice, because, oh, hey, I'm going to go down that road again. I don't know if I can take it right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a level of presence that's needed, but it's also an act of courage, really, to really want to do any of the work, any kind of personal development work, right? So
I agree.